Let's move to some big stories, starting in Dallas, where 2 years ago Dak Prescott was the toast of the town, but now he might just be toast. Jerry Jones has Dak's back, but it appears the fans have turned on him, with someone launching a Change.org petition to bring back Tony Romo. Marcellus, do the Cowboys regret ditching Romo for Dak?
No. I mean, hindsight 2020, we can't look back now and say, you know what, we messed that thing up, because at that time, Tony Romo was 36 years old, couldn't stand up straight, couldn't stay healthy for 2 years, 2 consecutive years. He only played 5 games within those 2 years. So you got to look at a guy like Tony Romo at that time, and you're like, expiration date, I think it's over. And then Dak came in, and all of a sudden the same fan base that now wants Tony Romo back switched to Dak immediately. So all I took from this was the fans have taken Dak to court. The court of public opinion. And Dak Prescott's a defendant in the court of public opinion, and it has power and it has sway. And I think Jerry Jones is on notice as well.
Yeah, I don't think regret is any part of this. I do think, though, the fan base is raising his hand and saying, we don't believe in Dak. And I don't know if he can reverse that feeling. I don't think it's a couple of games that can reverse that feeling. The guy would have to win in the postseason. I think the fans in Dallas believe Dak's a limited guy. He's not a franchise quarterback in their view. I still want to see him with a tight end and a legitimate number 1 wide receiver again and see if he can go back to being that guy he was his rookie year. I disagree with the fans here.
I don't disagree with the fans, but I will say this. Where they miss a Tony Romo-like guy at is on the sideline, and a veteran guy that can get in his ear, which was most helpful because one of Tony Romo's best attributes was his intelligence. And so he could help Dak see stuff. They got a young backup quarterback now. Hell, Dak's teammate at one point is now the quarterback coach. So there's nobody really in his ear to help him come along, if you will. And I think that's where the biggest issue is with Dak. But I don't think Romo should be back. I'm not a huge believer in Dak either.
I like that. You know, I look at the L.A. Rams in 2016. We drafted Jared Goff, and people thought he was a bust. But when we got Sean McVay, all of a sudden now, boom. The running game, we have Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, he was a bust. They got Z. The defense for the Cowboys wasn't good. Defense is good this year, but the offense is struggling. It's almost they just switch places. It really is. And I keep going back to Jason Garrett. I mean, like Jason Garrett. This offense is vanilla. It's like the old Rams. You almost know what's coming. When the Rams in 2016, I said, okay, here come the off tackle right run, right? Or here come up the middle, and here comes the check down. It was simple. And the Cowboys are the same way. It's not about Dak does not have a number 1 receiver. The guys say we're getting separation. Okay, separation can be this much. Right. But real separation is this. Yeah, what we're talking about. We're talking about some real separation. The problem is not Dak. I think you have to look at the head coach. And I like Jason, but no one wants to say, hey, what about the head coach?
Is it the head coach or the coordinator? Would you say Linehan?
It's Linehan and the head coach. But you know what? Jason has been there long enough to have, you know, you're a Cowboy. You think you're supposed to be in the Super Bowl every year. The Cowboys supposed to be in the playoffs.
Not the year I was there, but I hear you.
But you know, you know what I'm saying.
We ain't think
so people, it's an expectation. So they expect, and they're not getting, and maybe they're not that good. Like even what do you see the Cowboys are going to do? Where they go from here? I mean, they don't have a receiver. I look at my old team. I look at my team, the Rams. They made play. They went out and got players. They have to go out.
You got the coach fired.
Hey, if that's what it takes. But you know what? You know what? Keep Jason Garrett. I want y'all to keep him. Me personally, don't fire him. Keep him now. I just want to say, keep him.
I do think a move at the head coach could breathe life back into Dak, and this is why I'm reluctant to give up on him. I remember in Kansas City they had a little quarterback named Rich Gannon, and he was Elvis Grbacht's backup. He got out there. It didn't look the greatest, but he kept being effective. And he didn't look like anybody's franchise quarterback. And then he gets to Oakland and gets with John Gruden. And the next thing you know, he's the MVP candidate. And then he leads with Bill Callahan as the coach. He leads him to a Super Bowl. And late in his career, Rich Gannon became a big-time quarterback in this league. And when I look at Dak, I see all those same attributes as Rich Gannon. I just don't see the pieces around him, and I don't see a coach or an offensive system that's making it easy on him.
Well, you know, sometimes it gets validated where you got selected. Sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Like a Tom Brady 6-rounder, messed that one up. Sometimes a 4th rounder comes in as a 4th rounder should. And what greatness is not getting up there one time. It's consistent excellence. And what we haven't seen from him is consistent excellence. And it's starting to validate the fact that he had his issues coming out of college when you thought that this was a Heisman hopeful. And then remember, he came back and we were like, ooh, that was regression. And then he came out his first year, rookie year, amazing. Then it's been continuous regression. So maybe he's living up to what he actually is and not just that first year.
All right, to last night's big story, the Eagles' demolition of Eli Manning and the hapless Giants. The win was by far Philadelphia's best performance of the year, with the offense finally returning to championship form while the defense bottled up every Giant not named Saquon Barkley. Marcellus, are the Eagles back?
Oh, yeah. Do it again.
All the way back. They back?
All the way back, man. And they needed a moment like this, especially Carson Wentz. Think about what Carson Wentz has went through. And no one wants to talk about this, and I know Carson Wentz is not going to give us fuel for this fire, but I'm going to say it. I'm not trying to win a Super Bowl when I'm not the guy who led us to the Super Bowl. I want the ring, thank you. But Carson Wentz had to watch his backup get the Super Bowl MVP. Carson Wentz is sitting there like, yay, golf claps. Okay, I'm in support. I love it. Now it's my turn again to return to pre-injury form. And last night was the first time we saw MVP form Carson Wentz once again. So he's been in a weird place. They've been in a weird place with the Super Bowl hangover. But are they back? Yeah, because I think everything got ignited.
I'm not remotely crowning them. They played the Giants last night.
And they played the Giants.
With trash.
Whoa.
Jason Peters got benched last night in the middle of that game.
Hold on.
The Eagles still got problems. The Giants could have made a couple of plays, just a couple of plays, and that whole game would have been different.
Who were the Giants coming into this game? This was a team that lost to a Carolina team that is very good this year and only lost because of some NFL tying field goal, 63 yards. So other than that, this was a team chomping at the bit, ready to roar, and they got smoked from play one. I'm telling you, 4 sacks on Eli Manning, the pass rush, disrupting the receivers and the timing. They look good all around. I think Philly's back, man.
No, they're not back. No, they're not back. The DBs never got challenged deep in the game, which is where Philly has struggled. Their front has done a good job of sacking the quarterback, pressuring the quarterback. But the New York Giants right now are one of the saddest franchises in the NFL.
Yeah,
and that's a sad thing. That's a sad thing to say because everything that organization has meant has been one of the standard bearers of the National Football League, but they are non-competitive. From the coach, first year, down to the players, they all need to take a look in the mirror, and they need to get on the same page. They didn't look competitive from play one. On the first interception down the line, other than Saquon Barkley, they look amateurish.
And I wonder why.
Amateurish.
You know how it is. When we played a sorry team, did they lose or did we beat them? I'm looking at Philly like, okay, you can say they weren't competitive because we beat it out of them. Like, you don't walk into any game and just say, I'm going to lay down. Somebody puts you down. That's what happened. They put them down.
It's a combination. I would give you a combination.
She said sacking Eli.
We could sack.
I think I could sack Eli. I get Eli right now. I'm not even a defensive player. Look, are they back? They played a okay game. They played a weak football team, a terrible offensive line. The Giants got a terrible offensive line. The only thing that the Giants have is, to me, OBJ when he's not having his antics and he's getting the ball, and Saquon Barkley. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I look at the Eagles. You know, teams have a swagger about them. You know that as a player. You come out, you're like, hey, we feeling it. We feeling it. The Eagles right now, they don't have that swagger about them as they had last year. I don't see it. It may come. You know, it may come next week. It may come in late October. It may come in November. But it has to come. This is not the same team that we saw in the Super Bowl last year. Even Carson Wentz, after his injury, he got sacked quite a bit so far this year. He doesn't look like that same, like people talk, oh, MVP, oh, he's the greatest, he's this, he's that. He's not looking like that guy right now. So are they back? They won a football game. And you take a win. You don't care how you get it.
Right.
You take the win and you be happy with it. But are they back? No, they won. That's why they won.
I felt like Philadelphia's front four, Fletcher Cox, Michael Bennett, that group looked incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But then I said, what, is it them or is it the guys they lining up against? The rest of the Philadelphia team, again, Jason Peters still's not right at left tackle. He got benched at some point during that game. The Eagles' offensive line was having some problems. I don't believe Carson Wentz got away with some balls where his hands was hit, and Nelson Aguilar bailed him out. And that game could have turned very competitive if the Giants were able to make just one or two plays.
You guys are now dissecting it because you want to sit there and say it's not the same team we saw win a Super Bowl. And that's the process. That's the journey. That's what they're on. But did yesterday show that they're back on that road to success? Are they back on that path to success? Yes. Are they at the summit? No. But this is a team in a weak division that beat up on a team that was in a must-win mode, desperate, and full of emotional fire. And they stomped that from play one. That's hard to do.
All right, coming up, it was a tale of two superstars for the Giants last night. We'll tell you which one they should bet on in the future.
When it's your job to protect the world's greatest nation, it's your responsibility.